Just record. There you go. Recording's in progress. Yeah, I wanted to. We're obviously all here for Kokoda, and I guess a lot of us probably have read some books about Kokoda, or maybe know someone who's done Kokoda, or maybe even has a family member who fought on the track, great grandfather or someone like that. But what I do know, whatever the case may be, what I know is that Kokoda is a really important part of a lot of Australia's, I know their psyche, I guess. It's becoming an important part of our national identity. And and it's really only appeals to Australians, which is sort of understandable. Um, but it's a strange journey because it's not just a physical challenge, which is probably something that you've all heard about, but it's a very emotional journey for a lot of people. Um, when you get told the stories of what happened along the Kokoda track, you can't help but feel emotional about what happened there, 80 odd years ago. And so I just thought I might just show you a couple of little just a couple of little slides, and which sort of will make my point. Okay, we all know, or we may have all heard the history about how the Japanese came down from the north coast along the road from Popondetta to Kokoda, and then gradually pushed the Australians back from Kokoda and Taniki, Ishirava, Brigade Hill, and the Australians eventually stopped the Japanese near Eora Ridge within sight of Port Moresby itself. And of course, there's those big stories of the battles and the battalions and what they did and all this sort of stuff. But Kokoda, the story is more about the actual people who fought there. And we try to tell the story of what happened through the stories of the actual men that fought on the track. So I'll give you an example, yeah. So here's like a map of a battle, yeah? And this all sounds very interesting. The second 14th, this is at Ishirava battlefield and what happened between August 26th and August 29th of 1942. But for a lot of people, this it gets lost on them, yeah? Which I totally understand. But when you tell someone um, that that someone such as Bruce Kingsbury was there at the battle, I'm just trying to get my little machine to work here because it's not going to the next slide. Thank you. But if you actually I just don't know why it's not working now. I wanted to show you a picture of Bruce. There he is. So you got Bruce Kingsbury there, and he's a famous guy along the track. He was born in Preston in 1918, and he worked as a real estate agent prior to traveling through Victoria and New South Wales with his mate Alan Avery, who also fought on the track. And they enlisted together, serving in the Middle East before returning to Australia in 1942. So Kingsbury was a sort of a young guy, and he had a colourful service record prior to his famous act of courage and sacrifice at Ishirava. He was the first Australian to win a VC on the Kokoda track. Um, but like a lot of Australians, he was a bit of a ratbag. He went AWOL in the Middle East. But he turns out to be a great hero. And on the 29th of August, so that battle where that map was, Bruce relieved Lindsay Teddy Bear of his Bren gun as another wave of Japanese infantry attacked the battlefield. And he stood alongside his best mate Alan Avery, who was armed with a Thompson submachine gun. And this action forced the Japanese to retreat into the jungle. And as the rest of his comrades caught up to him, he was hit by a bullet from a Japanese sniper. And Alan Avery, his best mate, um, carried him back to the regimental aid post, um, where he was already dead. And for his selfless act of valor, Bruce, they call him Bruce Steele Kingsbury, was posthumously
Was
awarded. Are you there?
there?
Yeah, that's thank- thanks, Sharon. Maybe you can mute. I might mute your. Yeah, that's right. If you can even mute your microphone, that'd be great. But he was posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross. So, this is a so you're going to get told the story of Isharava through people like Bruce Kingsbury. Sorry, Sharon, that's really reverberating. Well, I'll just see if I can.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm just.
I'm muting. There you go. Uh, there we go. The wonders of technology. Anyway, I'll go back to what I was talking about, and then I'll just try to get to the next page. The next the next two guys I wanted to show you. For some reason, again, it's not working. hmm Why is that? Well, anyway, at the same battle, I'll try to bring them up, but at the same battle, um, Butch and Stan Bissett were at the Battle of Isharava, and they were brothers, of course, and Stan was born in 1912, and he was selected to go to England with the Australian rugby union team in September of 1939. So he met the King and the Queen, but never played as the tour was cancelled due to the declaration of war. And throughout his life, Stan led by example. So he was a great leader, yeah. He had an unshakable sense of duty and honour, and he had star qualities that, indefinable amalgam of physical presence and character that sets, certain people apart from others. And he was a genuine sporting great who blossomed into a military hero. And Stan and his brother, Harold, or Butch, joined the 2nd 14th, which fought superbly in the Middle East, before being rushed back to relieve the young diggers of the 39th Battalion at the Battle of Isharava. Stan spent, and at that battle, um, Stan spent 5 hours with his dying brother as the battle raged around them, and he held Butcher's hand and sang him his favourite songs and recalled times in their childhood as Butch slipped in and out of consciousness and finally died. And Stan set aside his grief and continued to fight, right? So he was given the military cross for valor. And the place where his brother Butch passed away at Cons Rock, you'll visit and you'll get told this story. And so, once again, you're going to get told the story of what happened, but from a personal perspective, which I think is a really nice way of telling the story of Kokoda. And I'm sorry the slides weren't working for the rest of them, but we talk about um, Japanese as well as Australians on the Kokoda track, and also PNG nationals who fought alongside Australians as well. So you will get a fully comprehensive story of the Kokoda track. I might just tell you about us as a trekking company, because a lot of people don't know who we are. And I just want to let you know that we've been walking Kokoda since 2006, so it's coming to 19 years now. And we've taken more than 600 treks across the track, which equals around 8,000 trekkers, just over 8,000 trekkers. Our maximum group size is 14, so we have small groups. If you have a private group, though, you want to be bigger than that, we can do it. But generally speaking, our public trips are very small compared to other operators who have 30 or 40 trekkers in their groups. All the Australian guides have a complete understanding of the Kokoda track, and they have full safety equipment. Like I said, we've got a sat phone, radio, first aid kit, and defib unit. Fortunately, we haven't had to use the defib unit, and we operate closely with local communities, and we don't operate on the Sabbath. So I'll go through that in a second about the actual treks, yeah? So just give me a sec. Um, I might just stop sharing for a second and just see if has anyone got any questions. I don't see any questions yet, so all right. Actually, I can't see the little the chat while I've got the slideshow going. So if you do have any questions, I'll try to unmute you and you can just tell me. All right. So let's talk about our treks. And the trek that you do depends largely on several things, yeah? First of all is your fitness level. The second is the length of the trip, how much time you've got off. And the third is the trip focus. So if you're really into the Australian history, then I would suggest that you go on an Australian-led trip. Yeah, one that's led by an Australian guide. But if you're not so interested or you're happy to read it from a book and you're going for a physical challenge, which is fine as well, then you could go with our local team. And the trips are exactly the same, except you don't have the Australian guide there. So all the food's the same, the safety equipment's the same, all that sort of stuff's the same, right? So so let's have a look at the Australian led trip because that's our most popular trip. So so let's go here. So that's the Kokoda track itself down the bottom. And we start always at Kokoda and go walk towards Port Moresby to Owens Corner. I'll come to that in a little while, yeah. But the Australian led trip is 11 days. It's 8 days of trekking, but it's 9 days on the track. And the reason is that that ninth day is because we have the Sabbath. Pardon me, we have the Sabbath on the track, and it's not because I'm religious, but it's because the locals have asked all the trekking companies to honor their Sabbath so that their porters don't have to work on that day, and we're the only ones that actually have that day. And initially, when we did it, I thought, oh no, goodness, people are not going to like it. But in the end, people think it's one of the best days of the whole trek because it gives you an opportunity to stay in one of the villages for a whole day, see how they operate. We go to the church for like half an hour in the morning just to see how that works. And then you can go back to your tent or the campground and read a book and have a coffee. Others walk down to the river. So pretty much you can do anything you like on that day, but it's very, very nice. Um, and it also provides you, this trip also provides you with an in-depth history of what's happening on the Kokoda track. So that's $4,300 per person ex P&G. That doesn't include your flights. So flights, say from Melbourne, are between $1,100 and $1,300. And then there's insurance, which is not that expensive actually, around $150. So you're looking at around 5, 6, 5, 7. But it includes your accommodation at the Hilton at the start and the end and all your food and all that sort of stuff. Okay. Alternatively, you could do a fast Australian led trip. So this is an 8 day trek and 6 days trekking. And we start this trip on a Saturday in Port Moresby and we start walking Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we finish Friday before the Sabbath. So we don't have a Sabbath in here. You see all the same sites. You just walk a lot further per day. This is you have to be fit for this trek, and yeah, you're walking pretty much from say 6 a.m. to around 5 p.m. each day, pretty much, and that's $3,730 per person twin share ex uh, PNG. Um, so the other trip is our local led trips. So they're the same as what I've just told you, but they're led by our local teams. Yeah. So they do the 8 day or 11 day itinerary, local guide. We can do this for a minimum of two people because I don't have to fly an Australian guide over there. It's more of a cultural immersion than the other trip, although we do have our guides come in, our PNG guides come into our eating area and give us cultural, uh, the cultural history of the area each night. And those trips are from $3,200 per person, twin share. Same thing, stay at the Hilton. Everything's the same. Yeah. And then we also run our private treks. So you can go any length of the trip. You can do longer or shorter. I'm actually doing a 3 day trip next year for a group. It's very fast. You can leave anytime you wish. Only have your family and friends on there. And if you have 10 or more people, the price is the same as a public trip. If you have less than 10 people, then it costs a little bit more. Okay. So they're the trips. Um, our team, so this is our local team, and this is about, I would say, about half of our local team. We have nearly 100 guides. We call them guides rather than porters. And they'll help us all across the track, help carry all our group equipment, food and tents and all that sort of stuff. And then we carry our own equipment. Or alternatively, if you wanted to, you can um, employ one of these guys to carry your backpack for you, which I would say around 70% of people do these days. Oh, sorry, I forgot another very important part of the team is our Australian team, but my machine's not working very well. It's not letting me go to the next screen, so I don't know why it's doing that. Um, Fitness, which is vital for anyone who's going to do Kokoda. It's a tough trek, yeah. Um, and so you need to get fit for it. You need to get track fit. So basically, you got to walk with a backpack up and down hills at least once a week. Maybe get a personal trainer if you need be. Don't forget to build some core strength. That's really super important, especially for your back. We can provide you with a basic program, or you can purchase a 14-week training app that's been specifically made by one of our guides. He's a personal trainer, so he's walked the track many times, so he knows exactly what's needed. And yeah, he's developed this app, so it's very, very good if you're a little bit remote. The next bit is what to pack. So then, of course, you're going to pack your toiletries and undies and your socks and all that sort of stuff. But the main things that you have to think of is your hiking boots. And if you're thinking about going to do Kokoda next year, I would be saying get your boots now because you want your feet and your boots to be best friends on the track. You don't want to be getting any blisters. And yeah, so that's very, very important. I don't suggest leather boots. I suggest a mix of you can get these sort of canvas and mesh boots that have um, the inner is waterproof. Like a Keen boot is very good. Scarpas are good. All those sort of boots, yeah, but not a full leather. The reason being is your boots will get wet and then you'll never be able to dry your boots. And if you try to dry your boots next to the fire um, with a leather boot, it'll it'll get very tough, and then you might lead to blisters. So you need a backpack around 60 liters, 70 liters. Backpack is fine. Trekking poles, everyone, poles or no poles. I think you need poles. It's always good to have poles. It takes off the weight off your legs. And then you'll need a sleeping bag, just a two-season, something that gets down to about 10 degrees or 5 degrees, and an inflatable mat. And we'll provide you with a little blue foam mat to protect your inflatable mat. Okay. So let me see if there's any questions. No questions yet. Wow, that's good. All right. Let me continue then. Uh, all right. So let's let's have a look at what the track looks like. You may have seen it on websites and what have you. Let's see. So this is the um, a cross-sectional map of the Kokoda track, and don't worry, it's not really that steep in these sections. This is a time distance cross-sectional, so you do that quite yeah, like Brigade Hill down to Minari is not that steep. There's no way. Um, but there are certainly steep sections. The thing with Kokoda is Um, Usually you're walking up for, say, an hour, and then you'll get to a small ridge, maybe for a couple of minutes, and then you'll go down again. And sort of that sort of process, you can see it from Kokoda to Oa's Corner. The reason why we walk from Kokoda to Oa's, which is north to south, is because that's how the battles of Kokoda unfold, and therefore that's how the story of the fighting retreat unfolds. So you have the Battle of Kokoda, you have the Battle of Taniki, then the Australians retreated back to Alola, to Isharaba through Alola, through Templeton's over Mount Bellamy, which is the highest point on the track, it's around 2,100 meters, down through Cargie and Afogi, and then to Brigade Hill is the other Battle of Brigade Hill. Minari, they were pushed through over the Magulis, and basically the Japanese got stopped at Iorabaya Ridge. That was the final battle for the Australians. So as we walk back, we're going to tell the story of how they fought or held up the Japanese, and it just makes a lot more sense to do it that way. Yeah. So this is what you'll cross. You'll cross a lot of rivers like this, and these are the sort of the jungle trails. Um, It's actually quite covered. Usually, most of the time, it's quite covered. So there's only a couple of little sections that you might need even some sun lotion because you're under the canopy a lot of the time. It's quite humid, but normally at an altitude of well over 1,000 meters for most of the trek, and therefore it's actually quite cool. High teens, except out in the sun, it gets very hot. This may happen to you, especially on the fast Kokodas, because the rain normally comes around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and normally the fast Kokoda we don't get into camp till 5. Whereas the normal Kokodas we sort of get into camp around 3. So sometimes we miss the rain. Yeah, it's these sort of deep, steep descents down muddy trails. You can see the guy. This guy, he's got a guide behind him. He's a personal guide, and he's actually holding this guy's backpack so he doesn't fall over. You will walk across traditionally made bridges. They're very safe, but they need to be made every year or two. But they're really cool. I'll just go back to this. Oh, this one hasn't downloaded probably, but this is basically a typical up. This is through the swamp, and they've built this little bridge so you don't get your feet wet. In the good old days, you'd have to slog your way through there. So they're making it a bit nicer for us, which is nice. It's just another. You can see the photo on the right. The trekker's fallen over and like there's just mud all over their bum and their backpack. And if you don't fall at least once on Kokoda, you haven't been there, I say. And this is the nightly ritual, sitting around the fire with the shoes being warmed up. Usually don't get dried unless it's been a particularly not too wet day, but it's always nice to see if you can get them dry. These are what the villages look like. So they're very beautiful. This is um this is Kagi village, and so this is around 1,600 meters above sea level, and it's just a very beautiful place. That's a little baby cassowary that they're growing. They're gonna when it grows, they'll eat it. It's like a chicken. And then yeah, all the little kids along the track. The kids are amazing, very engaging. And yeah, we provide student packs. If you wanted to purchase a student pack, you can purchase one and then give it to the schools along the trail, especially a Kagi and a Fogi, because it takes them 4 days to walk to get some school books. So we try to build their stores up so they don't have to do that. I think it's better than lollies. And this is just one of the greetings. And then they have these little markets there. You can see bananas in the back, avocado. These are billums, which is a traditional bag that they carry. tamarillos, which are delicious, passion fruit, and then big bananas at the front. Very nice. So, like a bowl of passion fruit would cost you 5 kina normally. So that's like $2, and a hand of bananas is about the same. And then, of course, we visit the great battle sites. This is Isharava battlefield. That's where Bruce Kingsbury and the Bissett boys fought that I just read out to you before. This is Cons Rock. This is where Butch passed away in his brother's arms, and we go there and we read a poem, and yeah, it's very moving. You still find unexploded ordnance. Most of it's been collected now, but you still find it. And this is Brigade Hill, probably in my opinion, the most important battle of the Kokoda track. And then at the end, we end up at Bamana War Cemetery, which is sort of a mixture of beauty and sadness, yeah, because we walked out of this tortured jungle and now we're in this place that's completely symmetrical and beautifully kept. But you can see every headstone there is a soul that's passed away during the Second World War. So it's a bit sad, to be honest with you. We hand out, a lot of our guides hand out soldier cards at the start. So if you join up with us, your guide might give you a soldier card, which is a particular soldier, and it'll have on the back a bit of history about the person. And then during the trek, the guide might ask you to read from your card. That's at a relevant time. And some of the soldiers didn't make it, and some of them did. And those who didn't, you can go visit their headstone at Bamana War Cemetery. This is a typical campsite, little one bedroom, not one bedroom, one man tents. They're actually two-man tents, but we only use one person per tent. So single, so you got a bit of privacy. And there's another little village. And if you want, you can stay in one of the huts, the guest houses like this. You have to provide your own mosquito net. So that's what the track looks like. And I'll just give you some of these facts. It's 96 kilometers long. It's about 2,800 people walk the track every year, Australians. Yeah. And there's a total ascent and descent of 11,000 meters. So it's 5,000 meters up, 5,000 meters down, or 5,500 meters up, 5,000 meters down. There are many trails, but there's one main trail. So some companies would like to tell you that they walk the real Kokoda track. Well, it's not true. There's many, many trails, and funny, I see them on the trail all the time, so I must be walking the real track too. We walk north to south, and I told you the reason why. We only use fresh food, so we don't use any rehydrated food. Um, we think that the fresh food, like pizzas, we do like fresh pizzas, and we do Indonesian curries and pastas. And the first night we even do curried sausages and all these sort of things. It's really important that you really love the food that you're eating, because the more food that you take in, the fitter you'll be to complete the track. The busiest time is Anzac Day. So, of those 2,800 people, about 1,000 people will do the walk on Anzac Day. So, it's very, very busy. The season's March to December. We've taken over 8,000 trekkers. I already said that. I already said that too. And this is one thing that a lot of people forget, yeah, is that 99, it's more than this, 99.9% of people who walk the track with us finish. So, it's tough, but you'll finish. The chances are you'll finish. Okay. And I just want to quickly just show you just some pictures of groups. These are the groups over the years. We have on average, we'll have two local guides for every one trekker. And the reason we do that is because if something goes wrong, you want a big team behind you to help you out off the track, yeah? So you don't want to be skimping on your local team. So we have a very big team to make sure that you're safe on the trek. These are maybe you can. see yourself in one of these. Oh, that guy looks like me, or that lady looks like me. So this is Owen's Corner looking back down the Kokoda track. You can see from here, you can see almost halfway down the track to nearly Takagi. So amazing, yeah. A lot of people. Hmm. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. We got all interested in the current track closure. Cheers. Oh, yes, good. Hold on. What's this? Hi, Peter. Three of us in the meeting are currently booked for Anzac April to. What is the current situation over there with the track? Ah, okay. So everybody's interested in that. Yeah, I'm really interested in that too. Um, usually, we get track closures like quite often. We'll get them or threats of them, or there might be a blockade and we still take people on the track and then just pay the blockade a few hundred kina per person extra and you get through the blockade. That's what the normal thing that's been over the last 20 years. This blockade's a little bit different. All of them, all of them are, all of them are peaceful. And including this current one is very peaceful. But the problem with this one is that these people at Naro have gold and they were promised by the PNG government that if they didn't extract the gold out of their land, because the tailings were going onto a river that crosses the Kokoda track, the PNG government said that they would pay them 40 million kina to not do it. And this was 17 years ago. The PNG government gave them 5 million kina and then they've had nothing since. So they've been pretty patient and they have just basically blockaded the trail and said, well, we're not going to let anyone through. We're not even going to let people pay us, little bribes to get through. We're serious. So where does that leave us? Where it leaves us is that the PNG government and the local landowners have already come to an agreement that's already been written. The issue or the delay of getting the Kokoda track open was is that the Kokoda track came under the Ministry of the Environment, and during the negotiations, the Ministry of Tourism was quite well, they led the way basically, and they have now taken over the administration of the Kokoda track, but it hasn't that movement from one ministry to the other hasn't taken place yet. It still needs to be approved by the government, like um, the Prime Minister, who says he's going to do it. So the landowners are saying, well, we're not going to open the track until the Ministry of Tourism signs off on our agreement, because at the moment the Ministry of Environment has done it. And so they don't want to be duped. So I have been told that next Wednesday is when it's opening, but I was told that 2 weeks ago. So, but in saying that, I am very confident that it'll be open next year by March next year. Oh, it'll be done before Christmas, but there's no trekking over Christmas. So, um, but I think that next year's trekking season will start. I think next year's trekking season will start as per normal.
Just do it through my
And our
phone.
first trek is in March next year, so we've still got quite a bit of time. Um, I hope that answers both questions. Has anyone got any other questions? I'm happy to take questions over the speaker as well, or in the thank you. Appreciate the update. Okay, yeah, cool.
Hey Peter, Jason here, mate. How you going?
Yeah, good, Jason.
That's good. Just a query about the visas you need to apply for with the PNG government.
Yeah.
In the information that you guys sent out to us, um, there was stuff obviously it can be quite bureaucratic and it takes a little bit of time, but there was a something in there about providing copies of your bank statements as part of the application. Um, I'm not an expert traveller. It just caught
No.
me off guard a little bit. So
Yeah.
what was that all about, and is it actually required?
Yeah, so that used to be like a requirement like 20 years ago when I used to travel to different countries. That particular visa, yeah. So all you need to do is just get a copy of your statement, just and blank out the numbers and any information like transactions. All they just want to see is the bank balance. To be honest with
Right.
you, it's all done. It's all automated. So
Yep.
I haven't tested it yet, but I reckon you could put any piece of paper there and upload it, and the system would accept it because it comes within 5 minutes of you putting it through. You see, so but
Yep.
but
How
most
long
people,
should we make that application? Because I think visas are only valid for, is it 3 months?
yeah,
Or
but it's from when you're traveling. Um,
so how long? Yeah.
so when are you traveling? When are you thinking of traveling? Oh, are you there? You there, Jace?
Sorry, I've got to.
That's okay. Yeah, so let's say you were going to travel in March. I'd put the application in December or January. I'd put it in a few months beforehand. Yeah, no worries, that's fine. So there, I would put it in a few months beforehand. And normally it comes through very quickly. Here's another one for everybody. When you click on the visa application or the visa page for the PNG government, the very first visa is a business visa. We've had two or three people apply, $400 later it cost them, and they don't refund. So make sure you go across the page there, you'll see travel visas or tourist visas. Click on the tourist visa and then you'll find the correct one for you. Okay. It's the easy visa we use. But I just make sure you don't click on business visa. And I think it's $50, 50, oh, 50 US or 70 US, something like that. I have to check. What is the fitness training app you mentioned, please? The app is by Mark Stafford, and if you want the information, we can send it to you, and then you just buy it online. So it's normally, I think it's like normally $250 or something, but if you buy through us, the trip you get it for like 125 or 99 or something like that. Yeah, so just let us know if you're interested. It's very good. Any other any other questions? Insurance is another one. And like I said to you, insurance is actually not that expensive for PNG. So depending on your age, of course, but if you're around 50, 55 for an 11-day trip, it's around 170 or 190 or something like that, which is very good. And then that also, our insurance that we sell, NIB, that covers you for evacuation. Most of them do. And normally in most cases, we will get the evacuation started um, even before the insurance company approves it, because the process for approval is normally hours and hours, and you need to get off the track. And then they always pay it out because you had to get off the track. So, all right.
Peter, what about vaccinations? Do we have
Yeah. Yep. So we've
vaccination
got a
needs?
list of vaccinations on our website. I can't give you any recommendations because I'm not a doctor, but I do suggest that you go to the doctor and talk to them about your needs. Like there's the ones that you should be having is definitely like tetanus and typhoid, and these are things that last a long time. Um, Malaria is one that some people take, other people don't. Japanese encephalitis, some people take, but to be honest with you, that's one bit of information, one bit that I'd say you probably don't need is Japanese encephalitis. Um, but yeah, go to the doctor and have a chat to them about it, okay? Normally vaccinations is really up to you, you know, uh, what you want to take and what you don't want to take. So, and he gave me a list of things I should have. Oh, that was Nath. Hi. Yeah, okay. So that was Jason Ford said that. Yeah. So, yeah, some of them you might already have. So, I'm just trying to think of other things. So, and then just really quickly, so you get picked up from the airport, taken to the Hilton. We all have a briefing the first day, and then go back to the airport and fly to Popondetta. And then from Popondetta, we take the road that the Japanese took. It's about 2.5 hours, 3 hours by road to Kokoda. It's very, very interesting. We'll stop off at Oiwi, which is the first battle site, basically, and Wairopi. And then that's where we start our trek from, is from there. And then when you finish the trek, we'll meet you at Oa's Corner. We'll have a bit of a barbecue there, and then the bus will take us to Bamana War Cemetery. We'll do our thing at Bamana and then back to the Hilton. Okay. So you looked after the whole time. Can you recommend good hiking boots? Where's the best to buy? Okay. Um, I love Keen boots. Keen. And the Targi 3s or the new Targi 4s are excellent boots. They're a little bit wide. They're very comfortable straight out of the box. They're waterproof and they work a treat. And the best place is either you can try to get them online or Escape 2. I'll type that in here. Escape 2 stores. They're at a lot of them are at DFO, yeah. They're sort of like an outlet for Keen. And they normally have a fairly big range. So Targi 2s, I'll write it down, Targhee. Sorry, Targi 3s or 4s. 4s are the latest one, and they guarantee not to delaminate, which means the sole won't come off. So, but they're very good shoes. I really like them. But of course, there's other ones like Scarpas, Solomon's. As long as you got waterproof and boots or shoes is fine. Most people take boots. I've walked the track on both. As long as they're waterproof, that's all you need. If you wanted a personal guide to carry your gear, it's $720. And that includes their wage, their food on the track, their transfers, their food. They come back. We all come back. All of the guide team come back to the hotel, and we have a big dinner together. And it includes their dinner as well, all that sort of stuff. It's very nice to end the trip like that as a group. Are there any other questions?
Peter,
Oh yeah,
Just on that, because I'm contemplating carrying my own pack, but I don't know. I won't. I don't do it till June next year, so I haven't even started training yet. But
yeah.
um, if I did that, I'm better off, and I'm worried that I'll get halfway through and go, shit, I made a terrible mistake here. I really should have got someone to carry my pack for me.
Yeah, we can find someone
Should I
for
just
you. Yeah, no, we can find someone for you. So you can try and start the trek and see how you go. And if you really need somebody, you just talk to your guide and they'll find somebody. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
or just have somebody and he can just have a nice stroll for the first half of the trek?
Or you could do the same. Yeah, that's exactly right. Here we go. This is fantastic. What a gig.
You just have to tell me lots of stories instead or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so see how you go. I
Cool.
mean, we can get someone within 2 weeks of the trip, and you should know by then. So, if you're feeling really good, then don't worry about it. If you feel like, oh yeah, maybe I need someone, then just let us know. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Is there anyone else have any questions? I don't see anything coming up. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the information. And if you have any questions, I'll just leave you my email address here, peter@noroads.com.au. That's my direct email. So if you need, if you need any information or you want to have a chat, um, yeah, just send me an email and we can have a chat. But I do encourage, I say this all the time, but I encourage everybody who's able to walk the Kokoda track to do it, every Australian at least, to walk the Kokoda track because it's such an amazing trek. There's no other trek like it for an Australian in the world. And I've done a lot of trails and it's just a very um, emotional trek and the historical context, you can't beat it. So, yeah. Well, if there's nothing else, I hope you all had a great night, and I hope to see you booking. And if you haven't booked yet, please book. And if you have booked, if there's anything that you need from me, please send me a message. Okay. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks, Nate. Thanks, Jason,
Thanks,
Michael,
Peter.
Scott, Jamie,
Thank
Dean,
you.
Jaden. Thanks everybody. See everyone.
See you
Bye.
later.
Thanks,
Bye.
Peter. Bye.